All right, everybody, we're back again, man, with another video, and we're talking about why narcissists won't understand you. All right, this has been one that and a lot of times when you're dealing with a narcissist and they're not fully grasping something, and you're trying to make points and stuff like this, it's just not gonna click. So we're gonna go through that. Secondly, hey, shout out to all the subscribers, man. Appreciate y'all for y'all support and showing love, man. I appreciate it. As you know, we just give it 100 over here. Solid information that you can use and apply to yourself in these situations if you're dealing with a narcissist. One thing, when narcissists don't hear you and they act like they don't understand, I'm sure some of you have been in these situations where you're trying to make a valid point to a narcissist and it just seems like you're not able to get through, right? And the more you try, the more resistance they go into, the more they may shut down on you. They may get passive aggressive. They may do any type of these things. But the short answer is grandiosity. In the short answer of it, and grandiosity is a cognitive distortion that the narcissist has, right? And narcissists have to operate in this way in order to have that feeling of invincibility. The feeling of always being right, the feeling of having superpowers and things like that, etc. This is what gives them or puts them in that state of operation, is because of their grandiosity, which is many times linked with magical thinking. See, all of these traits with narcissism kind of intertwine, and they're interchangeable depending on what situation they're in. So you can see all of these traits in a narcissist at play at some point in time. So with the narcissist, though, the inner dialogue that can do anything that they believe that they can, that they tell themselves at least that they can, is, very prevalent in their operating system. They will generalize everything and justify decisions based on other prior successes without including different variables and different pieces of the experience that can basically alter that situation and make it different. If you've ever argued with a narcissist, you won't get very far or get a full understanding from them or acknowledgement of what point you're trying to make. Many of you that have been in that situation, you've witnessed this firsthand and you've seen it. You just keep having to, you'll find that you're having to repeat yourself over and over and over again. And it just doesn't it's like nothing is being done. You're not reaching anything. You're not getting to them in any way. And that's because the grandiosity is, like I said, linked with that magical thinking. The reality in which they are in does not even see reality in the same way that you do. They're here physically with you, like you're talking to somebody, but mentally they're not. This is why they kind of seem like spaced out and gone whenever you're speaking to them and saying things. It just seems like they're not there. In reality, they really aren't. All right? In the event that you do attempt, if they do, let's say they do appear to try to accept your position on the matter, it will actually frighten them, and this is one of the big reasons why within their hearing they have selective hearing, Why? Because reality is being presented, and reality is the enemy of the narcissist. It strips away their powers, their inner beliefs of themselves. See, the way that narcissists even hear conversations is distorted, because they only hear what is in the line of their inner belief and version of the situation, or whatever they're trying to project on the other people. If it doesn't match theirs, they're not going to hear it. They're not going to hear any point that you're making. In fact, they're going to oppose it. They won't even remember what you said a lot of times. So a lot of times, y'all, when you're talking and you bring up something later about a conversation that you and the narcissist had, and something that they may have said, and how the conversation went, then they act like they don't even remember that. This is why. Because it's not, when you see things through the lenses of yourself and your mind and other dealings with normal people, that is one way, right? And you base that off of that assumption. But when it comes to a narcissist, they're not going to hear and operate the same way. Therefore, the understanding and the responses are going to be completely different from them too as well. In reality, a lot of times they really don't remember, because the way that they operate only allows them to align information with what they already believe and see in their mind for their agendas and their objectives. You're simply wasting your time, energy, and effort trying to convince them. You're not going to change their position or anything like that. You have to show them better than you can tell them, essentially, as the old saying goes. Right? And so many people, it just frustrates them. If you've been in that situation or any situation with a narcissist, it frustrates you. Because you have to, you know what you're saying is right. But the narcissist is like not even hearing it. They're basically tuning you out on the fly. Like, even you can be making solid points right there, and it's like, they have like an internal filter that's filtering out all the valid points. They don't even hear it. And therefore, nothing gets done. This is why there's very little change after that. They just shut down, walk away, or they go into a tantrum. Right? And this is to frustrate you so that you will leave the situation alone, or you will back down and now allow them to project whatever it is that they feel and believe onto you. And they do it to where you submit and start to accept their way, or you just come to a point where you agree to disagree. And this is what happens the majority of times with interactions with narcissists, is they put you in a position to agree to disagree, and you just have to leave it at that. But you never made any there's never been any resolve. So therefore, you can't hold the narcissist accountable afterwards if the same pattern or same thing repeats itself and comes out again that you've spoken to them about and that you've been into it about. It never got resolved the first time. So, it just becomes something else that you will run into later and have to argue or deal with at another time. And again, to no avail. Nothing will get done. There won't be any solution or resolution or anything like that. And this is why you can't argue or engage with individuals that display that are narcissists, because it won't do you any good. It's not going to do anything. The only thing to force the hand of the reality that they're trying to avoid is through action, through showing. And so I would say don't engage in trying to get a narcissist to understand anything. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. They're not wired to operate that way. They're not wired to receive reasonable, logical messages. They're not wired that way. So it won't work. So save your time. Just don't bother. And remove yourself from the situation or figure a better angle. Sometimes you just have to step back. Right? Step back. Regroup, re-engage at a different time with a different tactic. That's all. The narcissist always leaves themselves in a position to where, because of that, and just hearing the inner dialogues that they want to hear, and operating with magical thinking, it leaves themselves vulnerable at a certain point anyway. All right? You won't even have to make a point or say anything. I would just suggest just fall back and leave it as it is. You're not going to get anywhere. All right? Regroup, reposition. And if best, totally leave them alone and move on, or leave the situation alone. If you have a family member or something, leave the situation alone and move on. Deal with them in a way from a distance, but deal with them from a protective space, at least, to protect yourself. All right? Anyway, that's all I got to say. Have a good one. Talk to y'all soon.